I'm going to be speed running a drawing of Junkrat today. And that may seem weird and stupid to you, and it is stupid to me as well, but it's something that's important to me. And so I want to make sure that you understand how this is going to work, and I've come up with 3 different rules for how it's going to function so that you know it's a proper speed run and we know when it's completed. And the first thing I want to do is the first rule is that it needs to be the full body of Junkrat, and that includes the weaponry. And so it needs to have grenades and the wheel, and that's I think that's all that's necessary to understand. And then if it has the full body, that means it's going to have the legs and the arms and the head, torso. The second rule is that he needs to be doing something, and the reason I'm choosing that is because anyone can just draw just a dead character, or like, what I mean by dead is they're just not doing anything, like, ha ha ha, like I did a stick figure. That's not very interesting. He needs to be in motion because that's indicative of reality. And what I've chosen, what I'm going to be doing is him, my favorite activity of Junkrat, and that is him choking on dumplings. And so that'll really sell the realism, and it'll be more representative of reality, which means when the speed run is finished, you'll think like, wow, okay, this is actually Junkrat, absolutely Junkrat. And the last rule is there's no undo, and it needs to look like him in the end. If I'm not able to cover it up and it doesn't look like him, then I failed and I'll have to do it again. And so I think these 3 simple rules will be all that I need to do this speed drawing. And so when we're finished following these 3 rules, you'll be able to think like, okay, this is absolutely Junkrat. And just to preface this again, I've played Junkrat for 5 years to prepare for this speed drawing. That's the only reason I ever played Junkrat, was for this specific purpose. And it's all led up to this. I played him for 5 years. I have a couple hundred hours on him, and I've really gotten into the mind of Junkrat to understand, like, who he is. And if you really understand the character better, then I think you can draw them better and you can represent them much more efficiently. And so we're going to begin. So let's begin by drawing the face, the chubby face that he's got going on here, because he's choking on these dumpling boys, and he's got crazy eyebrows. We're really zoomed in here because I'm not going to take the time to zoom out. That's wasting time, and we need to save as much time as possible. He's got this crazy hair because he's got this kind of Yu-Gi-Oh hair going on, or Sonic, and we got to make sure we get the hair. There's a couple defining traits I really need to focus on with him, and those defining traits are the fact that he has a wheel, and the fact that he's got this crazy hair, and he has a peg leg. I think those three pieces are really important to get down. And he has like a few cybernetic parts of his body, but I think those are the most recognizable pieces. For him to be holding the eating the dumplings, we need to really sell it to you and the viewer. Otherwise, we failed. And so I just want to make sure that he's holding the dumplings, and and then over here we got to make sure we get the pecs with the nipples, and make sure that that's working right. He's not super ripped, but the thing is, he has I'm just doing some tattoos. The skin, he doesn't have a high fat content, and so the abs kind of protrude out more. If you don't have a lot of body fat, then it looks like you have abs, even though you're super skinny. And so that's important to do. Right now I'm just doing the peg leg. I have to make sure it makes it look like there's a spring on the end of it. If we do that wrong, it's going to look really silly. And then he has a normal leg with ripped pants, and a leg that goes out with a big boot. And the boot, he only has one boot because he blew off his other leg. We know that. I'm going to make sure that you know it's a boot by putting a few bunny ear ties on it. And we got to make sure that we get the grenades, and those are going across his body. And the last thing I have to do is the wheel, and I'm just going to move that so I have a little bit more room. The wheel's easy to sell because it just has these points on it. And then I need to sell the dumplings to you. And so the dumplings need to be coming from a bowl, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.